A couple of weeks ago, I did a great review. I think it was a great review on the movie Casablanca. And, I never seen Casablanca before, but everybody's seen like the highlights of Casablanca. The whole, here's looking at you, kid, and, two beings like us don't mount too much or something along those lines. Anyways, you see a lot of scenes. I knew a lot about it before I watched it. And I thought, you know what? If I ever get the chance to buy Citizen Kane, I think I'll buy it. And lo and behold, Fandango was selling it for $5. I was like, I gotta buy Citizen Kane. I never seen Citizen Kane before. Only really thing I knew about it was that it was about a newspaper man who was kind of corrupt, and it was supposed to be one of the greatest movies of all time in American cinema. So I was like, well, I gotta check this out. So I decided to give it a try and watch it, and this movie does not disappoint. I can very well see why people consider it a cough. One of the best movies ever made, and I think I would have to agree. It's one of their, right up there with maybe probably the top 5. First off, this movie is all about cinematography and how Orson Welles shot it. Sometimes it feels like he's just experimenting. Like, what if I shot it from this angle? What if I shot this scene from this angle? What if I used the lighting in this particular way to show this emotion? You get a lot of that in this, and 98% of the time, it succeeds. And about 2%, 3% of the time, it's kind of like, well, that one didn't really work. But for the most part, it really does succeed. And for me, that's what this movie's all about. It's just the storytelling behind the lens, not so much the dialogue or what the movie is about. Basically, when you watch this movie, the first 5 minutes of this movie tells you everything what's going to happen. You get a little newsreel about the great life of Charles Kane, and from his upbringing to his death and his marriages and his business adventures, his failed political run. And then, it goes on by his last words. What in the world did he mean by Rosebud? So you have like these news reporters interviewing these people who are important in his life and basically hitting the highlights of what this newsreel was talking about. We get his cover his first marriage, his second marriage, his political run, his big business, through the point of view of the people in his life, not so much of Charles Kane, because he doesn't really leave a diary or anything like that. So it's the great search for what in the hell did he mean by Rosebud? That's what the search is. That's basically what this movie's about. Well, not necessarily, but that's like the mystery behind it. What is mystery? What the movie really is about this great man who lived, and what motivated him, why he did the things he did. What did he think about love? How did his view on politics and business? And was he a good guy or was he a bad guy? It's one of those things. He kind of lived like a great life. He lived great, died great, I guess you could say. I like how when they go through his marriages, they don't spend a lot of time on them. They're probably about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe, of the whole movie, maybe that long. But they don't really need to spend that much time on them because how he shoots it and the storytelling that, excuse me, got something in my mouth. The story, I got it in my peanut. And the way he tells the story about these marriages, like you could tell by the first wife, like they're really in having a happy marriage at the beginning, and this how he shoots it over time by the way they interact with each other, the clothing, their facial expressions. You see that over time, this marriage slowly deteriorating to their having a big falling out. And then with the second marriage, you see the same thing, how he first is kind of intrigued with his second wife. It's kind of like an affair, he likes her singing, it kind of feels like if he helps her, maybe she'll love him back. Basically, this movie is about a man searching for love, for unconditional love, for people to love him. But in a way, it feels like he's unable to give out the love that he's seeking for, because to him, these relationships that he forms is a give and take. This is what I can offer you. This is what I offer you for you to like me, type of thing. And one of the questions they asked the second wife is, "Do you ever believe that he really loved you?" And she's like, "No, he did all these great things," but she was like never really happy. She told him things that she wanted, and he made sure they happened, even if he had to push her along. He was that kind of guy where he was very a go-getter, a runner. He made sure that things happen. That's what he was, very energetic in that case. Out there to achieve whatever he wanted to achieve, and those people around him as well. Even if he had to drag them kicking and screaming, that's kind of like how he had to do his second wife. Sometimes it kind of feels like people misunderstood him in his life, this character in his life, which is very good storytelling. Orson Welles, he does a fantastic job in this, producing and acting, everything. He does really well. Fantastic job. Like I said, going back to the cinematography, I believe was like everything about this movie really makes this movie. It's like its own character in itself. Just the camera angles. My favorite part is when it's near the end. I think about 10-15 minutes left in the movie. You got this great big mirror, and he walks past it, and you kind of see like the eternity of citizen of Mr. Kane as he's walking through it. It's kind of like a slow motion type of thing. Very well done. If I had to compare it to another mirror scene I really enjoyed, it would be Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee, that big fighting scene at the end. Both of them used the mirrors very well. And, I just liked the visual effect that it had. It's very simple. It's just walking across the room in this gigantic mirror. Allow me to look at what I've written and see if there's anything that I really enjoyed or didn't like that I forgot. Here's breakdown. He's a good guy. Politically, he wasn't, it didn't really, I'm trying to phrase this the right ways. Like, the character didn't really want, he was a powerful guy who liked power and wealth, but his political run seemed to be more about, he didn't like the way that the politicians were running it. He kind of felt like the guy who was in office was kind of corrupt, so he was trying to put dignity, I guess you could say, back to the office. Unfortunately, like most politicians, up to a certain point now, it doesn't seem that important anymore. But his personal life kind of interfered with his political life. Seems like in the last 10 years now that people don't really care what our politicians' personal life is like. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I kind of lean on it's mostly bad. But that's kind of what ruined his political chances. And maybe the film kind of leaves that up in the air. Maybe this was a bad thing for the citizens of this area, that he didn't win the job position, or maybe it didn't really matter. And then I guess that the big reveal at the end was that Rosebud was his sleigh as a kid. It was like, that longing that he had to return to innocence, to return to that love that he received from his mother before he kind of got sold off in a way. But overall, if you haven't seen Citizen Kane, I think this is a definite watch. You have to watch it. It's a great story. Very well shot. Once you watch it, it's hard to, not too many films compared to it. But it's definitely something, if you're somebody who loves movies, you should watch. Have a great, let me know your thoughts on Citizen Kane. Do you guys like it? Do you think it's overrated? Or do you think that it earns this place as one of the top movies in American cinema history? Let me know. Have a great day. Until next time, bye.